Why? Hello, look, and I figured, you know, make a video about yelling. Not enough, I'm going to use this. Yelling, we do a lot of it. There's nothing wrong with being mad. It's very destructive in interpersonal relationships and children. Using it when it's not called for. A B on a paper someone worked their butt off for is not worth yelling. Someone coming to be nice to you, why are you yelling at them? Uh, there's lots of harmful things, but there are times and places for yelling. I figured, the best way I know is just boot up this game. Here, you got these guys kind of wandering around here in the Stone Age. They're not really yelling when you click on them. It's like there's nothing wrong with being mad, and there's nothing wrong with being upset at all. It's what you do about that matters. If you just need to go have a big yell or get a punching bag, I've had months I was mad, and one time just gave up and just walked away. Stormed out of the area, but why? It wasn't worth getting in trouble. It just wasn't. We're taught a lot now. I look at modern media, and it's I watched, what was it? Sylvester and Tweety Mysteries from the 90s, and I went back and watched like 50s version of it, and the original 50s version. Granny's mad at Sylvester for a legitimate reason. He's a cat eating her pet bird. Fine. Good reason to yell, get the cat away from your pet bird you don't want him eating. You get later to Sylvester and Tweety Mysteries, which was made 40 years later, roughly, and Granny is not a nice little lady defending her bird. The one I watched, I don't remember the exact name of it, doesn't really matter. Sylvester noticed that, Granny, they were in a house investigating. And Sylvester gets beaten up, mauled, injured, provokes the dog, trying to protect Granny. And Granny's line is, it's all Sylvester's fault. This blind blaming Sylvester, it's supposed to be like a joke, but it's not funny. She's busy getting mad at Sylvester, basically kind of snarling at him over saving her, and that's not right. I know it was for the sake of comedy, but it's like what happened with later seasons of Everyone Loves Raymond. A lot of them would end with screaming and yelling. Everyone just yelling over the top of each other in the later seasons. It basically came across as cheap filler to me, and I quit watching it. It's a great show in the first few seasons, but the adults were degenerating into a shouting match. It's not constructive. I mean, it's supposed to be comedy, but it's not. Our brains are just neuron piles in a box, and all it knows is if the box has been shaken, and if it's too violent, it goes ouch, and it doesn't matter how that box was shaken, whether it was a punch to the head or emotional violence. It can't tell the difference. It just knows its box got shaken. And I was like, well, what are appropriate times to yell? We don't bring that up. Like here I have Age of Empires up for a reason. Getting back to where I started. You have, this army here and the helmets, you really can't see them. Can I get zoom in enough? Kind of. It's still very pixely. But like these helmets, they obscure your hearing, and you got all these people here, and you got both sides. Of course you're going to yell. You have to be heard. It's fine. Yelling to be heard here. But this isn't, I'm mad at him at Martin Army, so I'm just going to yell at him because I feel like it. No. That's not what this is. Definitely a great example of someone showing why you don't yell would be Gunny. I'm spacing on his real name in Full Metal Jacket, which was kind of a semi-reenactment in my first grade year, with the yelling and the screaming that wasn't really called for. You know, just wasn't. And he was a drill sergeant and knew that wasn't how you did it. He came up with it and was allowed to. Then I don't like Kubrick films. Getting back to it, there's times to yell. Patton yelling at troops to make on an attack, whatever. There's times for yelling. Like, here, I'll unpause this. Like here. It's kind of loud. And, you have all these guys grunting and screaming and falling. This is fine. You get your battle cries. The thing is, yelling is for danger. It's for when you're in danger. It is not for bees on report cards or a kid tripped on a sidewalk. It's like these guys that are endangering this guy's farm by fighting in it, risking his crops. Or they gotta be, informations. They gotta tell you where they are. I bet the music's gonna drown them out, but no, this isn't how phalanx actually worked, but there's times to yell. The coyotes, mortal danger, things are just loud and you can't be heard. You're trying to get a rowdy event down. You have to yell carefully. There's times to yell, like that fight these guys had here. But for the most part, a lot of times you really don't need to yell, and we've been taught to yell and scream. And it's not really appropriate. It's actually destructive. But these guys, well, it's a battle. I know someone's going to have a way more eloquent video, but and there's nothing wrong with being frustrated or stressed. But if you're not finding ways of dealing with your stress, your frustration, the traumas that feed into them. I still remember being in grade school and we had a counselor for the class. Unfortunately, I forgot her name. She pointed out anger was secondary. Why is anger secondary? Because anger is driven by another emotion. It's either sorrow or disappointment or fear or caring. Parents yelling at there's a man who defended his son from a female bear and yelled every single swear word in his native language at her. There's times like that. That's fine. Yell, 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 yell. You need to, but getting short-tempered and impatient and angry and frustrated when it isn't going to defeat the grizzly bear or the enemy phalanx, or you're going too far and you're just going crazy and putting yourself at danger, really isn't worth it. I know we're taught it's worth it. It's in media and TV with these crazy people, or, well, they're not crazy, they're being toxic in their behavior, being angry and frustrated, and it's not very productive. It's why Mr. Rogers took it a little too far the other way, but it's a Captain Kangaroo, but they're also aimed at small children where you should not be yelling unless you're trying to stop them from, like, burning themselves on the stove. Fine, yell at them, or they're going to do something that will physically get them harmed. That's totally good. That's appropriate. But when you're trying to communicate an idea and you're the adult who needs to take charge and show how the situation needs to be handled in an appropriate, functional, non-destructive manner, healthy manner, constructive manner, flipping out and giving them a angry 20-minute lecture, everyone's just toning out. So yeah, there's times to yell, and there's times not to yell. And I'll see you guys next time.